Hello, everybody. This is Nadasfan here, and I've got my buddy Mr. Hurricane,
Hello, everybody.
and we are here to talk about the breaking news. We are the news of the NHL today, that being the Minnesota Wild. They have landed the top two free agent prospects out on the market. This is a new era for the Minnesota Wild because this is something that this state is not used to doing, going and pegging the top name free agents. The Wild announced today that they signed defenseman Ryan Suter and left wing Zach Parise to 13-year, $98 million contracts. That's not together, that's a piece. That's crazy. And so, want to welcome to the state of hockey Zach Parise and Ryan Suter.
And while I'm not a big hockey fan, I've never really watched a ton of it. I did casually observe the Kings and their Stanley Cup run because they were an 8 seed. It was really exciting for hockey. And now for Minnesota to land two big free agents, I will always pay attention if a Minnesota professional team can do this. This is like the most exciting offseason since the Vikings signed Brett Favre in 2009. And so for an outsider like me who's never really watched closely the hockey game, I'm interested now. I'm gonna watch a while this year. I'm gonna give it a go. I don't know if that makes me a bandwagon fan. I don't really care. I live here in Minnesota, and this is exciting. This team may be referred to now as the Minnesota Heat, but this is big. Two big free agent signings on top of what Nadasfan thinks is an already solid developmental roster. And so hopefully this year, the Minnesota Wild can break out as a Minnesota professional team that actually goes to the postseason.
Well, not even goes to the postseason. I think the expectations are at least get out of the first round now.
I have
Because
lower
this
expectations.
yeah, well, that's probably a good idea because we all saw how that worked for the Miami Heat
I
the
watched the
first time around.
Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings have learned us to have taught us to have lower expectations. That's for sure, because you never want to have your heart broken in the end. But this at least gives us a chance in the Western Conference to be players. This lineup is really shaping up now. You made the move last year to get Heatley and Setaguchi in here. That was pretty big in terms of what the Wild had done in the past as far as getting free agents in here, but this really adds to the roster. You already have Captain Mikko Koivu to build around. You've got Michael Granlund coming in up the system, as well as a lot of other young pieces. So this should be really a talented roster for not just this year, but years to come. And 13-year deals for these guys. They should finish their careers in Minnesota Wild sweaters.
Exactly. And now I remember last year the Wild were actually the top team in the NHL ranking wise for a while. And then what exactly happened last year?
Well, a lot of things happened. Injury happened. This team was winning a lot of very close games, and even people who follow these kind of things, the national writers, really refused to put them high on the power rankings. Standing is one thing, but the power rankings are always there, and you say, well, in first place, 10th on the power rankings. Well, because they kind of saw this coming. They said, well, they're playing over their heads right now, and there's no way that they can, with the roster they had and the injuries they had, continue that success through a full year. And in the end, they were right. They really bottomed out for a while there. They hit rock bottom, let's say, and never could recover.
Despite what happened last year, though, this has me excited because I've heard Nadasfan on Twitter. He's like, the Wild may be getting Zach Parise. I'm like, who's that? Because honestly, I don't watch hockey. I don't know these guys, but they're the two top free agents on the market, according to a lot of people. Blue chip prospects, as some are referring them to, and so I'm excited. I wanna see this Wild team now. I hear about them every now and then on ESPN radio here in the Twin Cities, and so I know some of the players. I kind of know what goes on, but I've never really watched. And now, this is what works. This is how you get people to watch. This is how you get people like me who don't pay attention to watch.
Well, this is how you guarantee that those season ticket sales don't lag either. We had kind of gotten out of the honeymoon period here. For a while, the Wild, and the XL Energy Center was the place to be, the place to be seen. Timberwolves have kind of stolen some of that thunder in the last couple of years here with Rubio coming on and Kevin Love developing. But now the Wild grab that right back and say, your move, Vikings and Timberwolves. So who knows, maybe the Timberwolves go out and make a splash and get Paul Gasol and get some of the attention back on them. But for now, it's with the Minnesota Wild. And with Zach Parise, he is a Minnesota native. And ironically, you may have your buddy PA, Paul Allen, over on KFan and the voice of the Vikings to thank about this, because Zach Parise is a regular guest on his radio show. And he's been softening him up this whole year about trying to get a little insight on where he might go in free agency. And he wouldn't spill anything, but here it is. He ends up in Minnesota.
That's awesome. And now, while the 4 professional teams in Minnesota may have underperformed, have not made the playoffs in the last couple of years, besides the Vikings in '09, they all have something to be excited about. But now maybe the Wild have jumped ship over all 3 teams, and now will have the highest expectations and a lot of attention now. And maybe the state of hockey title will actually be relevant here once again.
Well, and this just feels great. I mean, like, bask in this for a minute because this is very rare for this town. And obviously, championships are not won in free agent signings, but this is a good first step. And outside of hoisting the Stanley Cup, which I'm very jealous of those LA Kings,
Not
obviously
one,
this year.
not two, not three. No, I'm gonna end there. I'm gonna stop there.
Yeah, you think they'll fill XL Energy Center tonight and have the kind of welcoming that the Heat did for the Big Three? Yeah, kind of doubtful, but still a very momentous moment in Minnesota sports. So we'll be following this development with this team all the way up. It's going to be a long offseason here because anticipation will be at an all-time high for this team. And let's drop the puck. Let's go. Let's do it tomorrow. Let's get this thing started.
I'm ready as well. So, Nadasfan, send this home.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Like I said, I'm Nadasfan. This is Mr. Hurricane with me. Little hot stove hockey talk and one of the biggest moves in Minnesota sports in a while, signing these pair to long-term contracts. Let's get the NHL season on, guys. Let's go. See you later.
Bye.